Extraordinary Attorney Woo is one of Netflix's most recent K-dramas released and follows the story of Woo Young-woo, a rookie lawyer with autism spectrum disorder. At the time of recording, it's achieved South Korean and world renown. So, a little fun fact I've only mentioned once in a previous video, but I'm actually on the spectrum as well, along with being a psychology student, so I was personally really curious to see how the show depicted autism, since all the summaries of the show include her autism mentioned as something relevant to Woo Young-woo's character, and it's been praised for this interpretation everywhere that I've seen in terms of reviews. I was so curious to see how it relates that I told Chumi that I'll be doing this week's video despite our rotation setup. I actually really want to do this myself, especially since the last media portrayals of autism I've had to watch for PsyPoints have been absolutely, horrible. Do take note though, this review is more about its portrayal of autism rather than a critique of the show itself. So is Extraordinary Attorney Woo's portrayal of autism portrayed well, or does it fall short in its execution? Let's find out in this week's episode of Psypop, where I, a psychology student and a person in the ASD spectrum, look at how autism is portrayed in Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Autism is defined by the Autism Association of Western Australia as a neurodevelopmental condition that can affect the way a person communicates and behaves. For some, this can manifest in what's defined as restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior. People with autism may also experience differences with their senses that can affect their perception and approach to their surroundings. I would also like to encourage people interested in learning more about autism to check out our older episodes related to it, such as our episode critiquing the film Music from a standpoint of its depiction of the condition as well. Due to there being different levels of severity for autism symptoms, its disorders are widely recognized as being on a spectrum to show these varying levels of severity. The DSM-5 generally labels this as Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, to recognize this, as it includes conditions that were once labeled as being completely separate, such as Asperger's syndrome, which is considered to be on the more mild end of the spectrum, pervasive developmental disorders, and the older, more archaically named autistic disorder, which is sometimes still used when referring to more intense symptoms. The story flow per episode has a fair balance between showcasing scenes in the court, but also the daily lives of other characters in the show. In the midst of political related issues and cases, we are reminded that the show also shows how their relationships grow together outside of job matters. The viewers also have the opportunity for every viewer to become attached to each character, along with their development until the very last episode. Some of the highlighted bonds that I believe are worth mentioning are the patient yet heart-wrenching romantic relationship between Lee Jun-ho and Woo Young-woo, the chaotic yet familial like Hanbada team, and the deep friendship between Woo Young-woo and Dong Gyu-rami. Anyway. If you want to promote your favorite moments, by the way, please list them down in the comments. I'd love to see them. I really like this show. Although mentioned a lot, the show actually doesn't particularly put autism as the main focus of the story, as this is a courtroom drama first and foremost. Rather, the show really did their best to show its struggles and stigmas surrounding it in subtle yet impactful ways throughout. Most especially in episode 3 and episode 10, which similarly have cases involving someone with autism and highlight this point. Although autism is not the main point of the show, its presence is highly felt. Now, going back to the show's portrayal, I can happily say, as someone in the spectrum and a student studying topics such as this, the showrunners did this really, really well. Both in terms of how the symptoms were shown and how others reacted to them, especially considering the setting of this drama. See, when it came to people's reactions to people with autism, one had to look at Korean culture. And in Korean culture, it is known for its collectivism and conservatism. So it's been known to heavily stigmatize those who do not conform to society. And this especially goes for people with mental health disorders or disabilities and so on. So although anti-discrimination laws have been implemented in the country, microaggressions are still a part of common life. They're commonplace and are often highlighted when they occur in the show. In the portrayal of symptoms, habits, and the experiences of people with autism, on the other hand, like triggering loud noises, the endless repetition of habits, to being told to just kind of shut up, really, because you keep on talking and talking about something that people aren't really interested in, and just to get straight to the point. Although I'm on the lower end of the spectrum, half the time, like, I'm gonna admit, I just saw what happened to Woo Young Woo in the show half the time and just said like, same dude, just like same. Yeah, even with their handling of more severe sides of the autism spectrum, just like in episode 3's case, one of my favorites in throughout the entire show, I will admit as well, I have a cousin who's really difficult to communicate with due to being on the higher end of the spectrum as well, basically. But the means of communicating with and how they act were really memorable in terms of how others and my cousin's side of the family would try to communicate and get along with him too. It was really endearing, and episode 3 is really tragic, just saying, like, without spoilers. But yeah, the writers and even the actress herself really made sure to put in a lot of research into Woo Young Woo, and it really shows. In an interview conducted by The Swoon with Park Yoon Bin, the actress of Woo Young Woo, she revealed that she really took the time to read and learn about autism, and the writers, of course, did their research and also spoke with professionals who were knowledgeable about autism. You see, the best thing about the show, what I can really say, is unlike most movies that say that they do their research but ultimately don't deliver, this one does, and it's truly appreciated, really. Other creators who have autism have talked about this show too, so I recommend to go check them out as well and their points of view, since they also have valid opinions on the show and how the main character is depicted, and I will leave them in the description below. Admittedly, due to how mental health has been treated in the last 2 things I had to review for PsyPoints that failed to talk about mental health conditions seriously or disrespected the concept altogether, I was really hesitant to give this one a watch, in full honesty. But I'm really glad that I took the time to actually do it in the end. This is one of the rare shows that I've watched that do justice to a mental health condition while also making it a main character trait for the protagonist, and that actually, well, serves to add to the story. Overall, I'm really happy with the series' portrayal, and I believe that the universal praise that it's received from Korea and globally has been well earned. So thank you guys for watching. Please comment any topic you'd like for us to tackle next and talk about your favorite moments in the show. Again, I really like the show, so I'd love to talk about it. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And lastly, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day ahead. Again, thank you all.